We're going to be installing this new Lokar throttle pedal assembly in our C10 truck, and it's a bolt-in deal. You can see I've got the stock assembly right here. I've pulled it off the firewall. This bolts from the outside in, so there's some nutserts on the firewall that actually hold this together. This guy's threaded on this side, so there's a couple holes we need to drill through, a couple nutserts we need to drill through. That way we can put a through bolt on there that attaches this to the firewall. So that's the first step. As you can see, the new throttle pedal will match our existing Lokar brake pedal pretty nicely. And we'll make a hole for the cable and we'll attach it to the throttle body. So as you can see, we're going to drill out these two corresponding holes. And the third hole we're going to leave in there because we're just going to run a fastener in there. We're just going to disassemble this guy real quick. That way all we're doing is holding this up there. Boom, and that's how it's going to install. We drilled out 2 of the 3 holes, but we left one. We left one of the nutserts in the firewall because it's not used on the new pedal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the bolt in that hole to hold this little firewall cover in place while I run the other 2 bolts in and attach the actual pedal. So this plate, not only does it kind of back up the throttle pedal mount and give it some support, it also covers that stock hole where the throttle linkage came through. Unless you've got like 7-foot arms, you're not going to be able to hold the plate on the firewall and the housing for the throttle assembly. So it helps to have 2 people, one on one side holding the mounting base and another on the engine side running the screws in. So now that we've got our pedal mounted, someone did us a favor and filled all the holes on the firewall, but in the stock C10 trim, there's a hole that's about 5 inches above the throttle pedal, and that's what you'd use for your cable pass-through. And I can feel right here where it's been welded up. So I'm going to mark it, and I'm going to drill a new hole that corresponds to our hardware that's on our cable that will allow us to put the grommet, the bulkhead, and all that kind of stuff in there. So we're going to go ahead and slide it through the firewall, and then we're going to put the nut on the back side as well as the other grommet. And that goes on that side. Yep. So one little tech tip on these throttle cables is there's a ferrule on the end of this housing. Don't pull it off, because when you go and cut this housing back, the ends might be frayed just enough to where you can't get this guy to slide back on. So what you want to do, it's hollow on the end. So just pull it back a little ways, however far you got to cut it, trim it, and then you'll just sneak back up on the end and you'll put your cable back together like that. Best case scenario, you put a little clamp here somewhere. Okay, Rob, is that wide open throttle? It's stopping at the floor? Okay, and I got wide open throttle here. And that's what you want. You don't want this to reach wide open throttle before the pedal hits the floor, because then you could still put pressure on the cable, and you want to avoid that if possible. So if the pedal's touching the carpet, touching the floor, and we're wide open throttle right here, our adjustment's good. And that's it. We've installed the throttle cable, throttle pedal on our FiTech throttle body. For more tech stories and videos like this, check out classictruckperformance.com.